Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Chargers Analytics with Arjun. We have a very fun episode today. Today, we're going to be projecting player contracts for the Chargers' top four free agents, at least in my opinion, and projecting what a contract extension for Derwin James is going to look like. So if you are listening on the audio version, I will be, kind of talking through each step of the contract. But again, it's going to be much easier to see what the contract looks like on YouTube. So head over there if you're interested to see like the actual numbers on the spreadsheet. But like I said, we're going to be projecting some player contracts. The reason I'm doing this video, if you don't follow me on Twitter at Arjun Menon 100, this past weekend I took part in a competition called the Villanova Pro Football Negotiation Competition with two other teammates, both of whom are undergrads, same as me. And we competed against law students, who are pursuing a law degree and, kind of study sports law for their career right now, and negotiated contracts against them, trying to get the best deal from a team side and agent side. And then finally putting together a presentation on Allen Robinson for his agent in the final round. And, even though we were the only group of undergrads in the competition, like in total, we managed to come away with the win, which was really made me happy, and it was something that I'm definitely super proud of. So I decided to keep that train going, do some player projections for the Chargers. I made one for Mike Williams, I made one for Derwin James, put them on my Twitter, but I'm going to be going through exactly the thought process and honestly help you guys to be able to make these player contracts on your own. I just want to share how I made them, what it looks like, and if you need the template for which I'm using as my spreadsheet, I can always share it with you on Twitter. So without further ado, you should be able to see my screen. This should not say James Conner. I'm just using the spreadsheet. So this is Chargers offer sheet. All right, so the first contract we're going to look at is Mike Williams. The contract I drew up for him is 4 years, 18.25 million APY, which is a $73 million total valuation on Mike Williams. 33.25% of that is fully guaranteed at signing. Years 1 and 2 of Mike Williams' contract, his base salaries are fully guaranteed, and he has a $12 million signing bonus. So with Mike Williams, it's interesting because like the notion is NFL teams tend to overvalue former first round picks. And I think this could be the case here, even though Mike Williams had a really solid season. I'm not going to say great because I think he was a little too inconsistent, but putting up 1,000 yards is not easy, and it's a career high for him in catches and receiving yards. So he's going to get a big payday. Now, full disclosure, I fully expect the Chargers to tag him before the March 8th deadline. So whenever this video goes up, he might already be tagged by that time. But like I said, I think Mike Williams is going to catch a bag this offseason, even though the free agent class from last year in terms of wide receivers underperformed. So that's something to keep in mind, where I could be completely wrong, where I'm projecting Williams to get a higher contract than some people think. But I think the market could also speak that the free agent receiver class was not that good last year. In the draft, the receivers in the draft were, have been really good the past couple of years. So teams might look towards the draft instead of, paying up big money in free agency. But I've gone over why I think Mike Williams should return and why he's an integral part of this offense. So let's go through the contract again. Years 1 and 2, fully guaranteed. And the basis for which I created my Mike Williams contract was creating it in a similar manner to Keenan Allen and Kenny Golladay. So that's how I see this contract playing out, in a similar fashion. So years 1 and 2, fully guaranteed. Pretty much it from the team side, it tells the agent side, hey, we believe in Mike. We're going to give him security at least up to year 3. And I mean, it's going to be up to year 4 because, as you can see, his dead money in the 3rd year is $6 million. You don't really cut a first round pick unless they were literally injured for 2 years. And, his cap savings aren't going to be as much as, the dead money is warranted. So we're looking at a 2-year cash flow of $33.5 million, a 3-year cash flow of 52.5. And as you can see, the dead money in year 3 is $3 million. So what this means is, while this is a 4-year, $73 million contract, it can also be interpreted as a 3-year, $52.5 million contract, right? So this would, the 3-year 52.5 essentially puts Mike at like a 17.4-ish APY. So it depends how you interpret it. I think, if you sign him to this long term out every single year, he's gonna play out every single year in his contract. But like I said, there is always a possibility of him getting cut. So I did want to give the Chargers an out by not guaranteeing any money in years 3 and 4. So as you can see, the P5, which is P5 essentially stands for base salary. It's just, that's the standard NFL term for going about it. This P5 increases every year, similar to Keenan Allen's deal, similar to Kenny Galladay's deal. Having roster bonuses in the final 2 years, again, similar to Keenan Allen, which I'm pretty sure he has in his contract. And the roster bonuses essentially mean on the 3rd, the 5th, the 8th day of the new year, it's decided by the agent and the team. By that day in the new league year, which is around this time in March, actually, this roster bonus will be fully guaranteed. So unless they cut him before the day that these roster bonuses become guaranteed, these are also part of his salary. So again, 4 years, $73 million, 18.25 APY, 33.25 fully guaranteed at signing with a $12 million signing bonus. So that's my contract extension for Mike Williams. Don't see him getting anything more than 4 years. Expect him to get tagged, and hopefully they can come to an extension just like this, because I do think it's favorable for both sides. Now, Derwin James, extension time, right? He's going to reset the market. Wrote an article for PFF about it. Please go check it out if you haven't already. But my contract projection extension for Derwin James, again, based on what the market is, based on what I think he deserves, I like 4 years, 75.5 total value or total money, 18.875 APY, 34.5 fully guaranteed with a $20 million signing bonus. Now, full disclosure, this $20 million signing bonus can easily go up to like 24 if they really wanted to. What I mean by this is when they sign Derwin James to an extension, I think the standard NFL practice is when you sign a player from a rookie deal on his 5th year to an extension, you convert so like half of their base salary in 2021, or you convert half of their base salary in their 5th year to a signing bonus. So what this means is Derwin James's cap hit for this upcoming season will be decreased if he signs an extension. That's what I think is going to happen. But for the sake of this exercise, I'm not doing that. I'm just creating a normal contract extension. So I fully guaranteed his year 1 at $6 million, partially guaranteed his year 2. So again, as the Chargers, we're showing these players that we care about them. We're giving them some long-term security to at least make this a 2 or 3 year deal. Essentially, with how big the signing bonus is, he's really not going to get cut. But if they really felt he wasn't performing at the level they signed him at, or he's just getting injured again too much, they have him out at year 5 for only a $5 million dead cap hit. So the P5s again escalate from 6 mil to 12.5 mil to 14.5 mil to 18 mil. Again, P5 stands for base salary. Again, part of the contract I created this contract based on what Jamal Adams got. And also, if you don't know, Derwin James is represented by David Mulugeta, who is the lead agent for Athletes First, which is an agency. He also represented Kevin Byard and Buda Baker when they reset the market. So I had to look at their contracts, see what they got, right? And they all pretty much got decently high signing bonuses and roster bonuses in the final years. Kevin Byard actually had per game roster bonuses of, I think, 500,000 in every single year of his contract. This is not, the Chargers aren't usually super tricky with their contracts. They don't have all of these weird workout bonuses, option bonuses. They keep it simple with base salary, signing bonus, roster bonus. But like I said, I think they do have some players where they give per game roster bonuses or roster bonuses in general. So I decided to give Derwin, 500,000 in terms of per game roster bonuses in the last 3 years of his deal, because also this is like kind of like a performance escalator to help him stay on the field, to motivate him to, play in every game to get that bag. And then again, roster bonuses in the final 2 years, something that we've seen the Chargers do for their star players. Keenan Allen has roster bonuses in the final 2 years of his deal. Joey Bosa has roster bonuses, right? So this is the overall deal. As you can see, this is pretty much a full 4-year deal. I don't envision him getting cut in this scenario because of how high the signing bonus is. But to recap for the people not watching on YouTube, 4 years, $75.5 million total, total, 18.875 APY, 34.5 fully guaranteed with a $20 million signing bonus, with year one base salary fully guaranteed and part of year two base salary fully guaranteed. Now we're going to go on to Uchenna Nwosu. This one is a little bit trickier because, Nwosu in the eyes of Chargers fans are kind of split. Like, I haven't seen anyone like really push to bring him back, or some people are just saying like, let him go. I personally think he should be brought back, but again, at the right price. And again, I think I might be overestimating his value, but here's the thing. Edge rushers are in the NFL's eyes, in the front office's eyes, the edge rusher position is the second most important position. Now, while the stats like WAR, like wins above replacement, or things like that might not justify that, edge rushers are paid at the second highest annual rate, right? Like TJ Watt got 27 million, Joey Bosa got 26 mil, Myles Garrett got 25 mil. Like, they are being paid at a very high rate. So I think Nwosu is going to come in higher than what Chargers fans expect. But again, it wouldn't surprise, like, I think this is a big number. So for the people not looking on YouTube, the deal is 3 years, $36.5 million, 12.17 APY, 16.5 fully guaranteed at signing, with a $9 million signing bonus. So again, I think because the salary cap is going from 182 to 208, remember, the market last year is interesting because the cap went down, right? So salaries probably became deflated at that time, but now that it's jumping up by almost like $26 million, like I said, we're probably going to see players come in at a higher price than what you expect. So the players for which I based my contract around: Sam Hubbard, Josh Sweat, and Matthew Judon, all three of whom signed deals last offseason, or signed contract extensions, right before the season started. And so all three of them fall in this like 10 mil to $13.5 million range. So that's how I kind of based my contract on. Signing bonuses right around the, Hubbard to Judon range, and decided to throw in a $2.5 million roster bonus in year three. Again, because the signing bonus, I don't have anything guaranteed in the third year. This also is essentially a 2-year, $22 million deal. So if the Chargers don't feel Nwosu's producing, it's pretty much a $11 million APY with a $3 million dead cap in year three, right? So again, the whole goal with me creating these contracts, and from what I've seen from the Chargers, remember, you talk about why Brian Bulaga is going to get cut. It's because the Chargers structure their contracts like this, where they kind of like, they'll give you money. They'll say, we believe in you. We'll give you some security in years 1 and 2, right? That's why I fully guaranteed his year one base salary. This should actually be 5 million. So I fully guaranteed his year one base salary. And then I partially guaranteed his year two, meaning we're not going to cut him because you're not going to cut someone with an $11.5 million dead cap. But in year three, again, we're not guaranteeing any money. And so if they really wanted to cut him in year three, they could. So again, for the Chargers, they like to have really low year one cap hits. So I'm coming in at a little bit low. I think this could obviously go up to something like 7.5 if they really wanted to, where the agent was pushing for it. But the cap hits going from 5 million year one, 14 mil to year two, and then 17.5 mil in year three, which seems like a lot right now. But when the cap hit jumps to 230 in 2024, it's not going to seem as much. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Whenever you see the cap hits escalating, it's because the cap for the entire NFL is also going up. So again, to recap, it's a 3-year, $36.5 million deal, 12.17 mil APY, 16.5 mil fully guaranteed at signing with a $9 million signing bonus. And essentially, we have an out in year three, which essentially makes this a 2-year, $22 million deal with pretty like a a 14.5 mil option in year 3. Next, let's talk about Kaiser White, and then we'll go into Justin Jones, and we'll wrap it up from there. For Kaiser White, this is gonna be an interesting one, right? Like he had a big breakout year this year for the Chargers at linebacker. The linebacker market, from an analytics guy, it's not something that we think it's a little bit high, but there's nothing wrong with paying a great linebacker. I'm not sure if Kaiser can be considered a great linebacker. He's definitely proven himself to be a quality starter that can start in a variety of roles. So the contract I drew up for him, a simple one, kind of 3 years, 27 mil, 9 mil APY, 16 mil fully guaranteed, which is a lot. But again, this is based on the market. And then a $4.5 million signing bonus. So when I say based on the market, when I did my competition this past weekend and won the whole thing, my prep was looking at players' contracts at that position in the past 3 years that they signed, and seeing what type of deals they got, right? So the players for Kaiser White that I think he falls in that range: Nick Kwiatkowski for the Raiders, Matt Milano for the Bills, and Milano is the one I think Kaiser is going to come to the best, in my opinion. Blake Martinez for the Giants, and Joe Schobert, who signed with the Jags, got traded to the Steelers. Martinez and Schobert are a little bit on the higher end, but I think, I just think that their deals, or the type of players they are, their comp, we can comp them to Kaiser. But essentially, this deal was based on Milano and Kwiatkowski. So kind of a low signing bonus, like a proratable signing bonus, 1.5 mil. Well, the interesting part about Milano's deal is he had his year was 1 and 2 fully guaranteed. So I'm actually going to make this fully guaranteed, which that's what it should be. So his years 1 and 2 base salary are fully guaranteed, right? So Kaiser pretty much is locked in for 2 years. But in year 3, again, the year 3 or the final year of the contract, we want to have that out. So we're not guaranteeing any money. And because the signing bonus is only 1.5 mil, again, it's only 1.5 mil dead cap. This makes it a 2-year deal. Again, that's the goal. That's what the Chargers do, right? You want to have these outs in case the players get injured, like Brian Bulaga, or don't perform. So essentially, this makes it a 2-year, 16.5 mil deal, which comes in at a 8.25, I believe, 8.25 mil APY, which is pretty good for Kaiser. Like, honestly, I'm not too much in favor of paying a linebacker over like $8 million, but it is what it is. And he had a really good year, and I think teams will be calling after him. Remember, no one expected Rayshon to catch that big of a bag from the Jags, but he did. And again, players who perform like this and have a career year as an ascending player, I think they're only going to get better, and they're only going to have more suitors on the market than we believe. So again, kept it pretty simple. The base salary / P5 increasing every year, threw in a roster bonus in the final year because the Chargers, not the market, which some players in the market have it, but the Chargers like to have that roster bonus in the final year of the contract. Cap hits jump from 6 mil in year 1 to 9 mil in year 2 to 12 mil in year 3. So again, to recap, Kaiser's deal that I drew up: 3 years, 27 million total money, 9 mil APY, 16.5 mil fully guaranteed. Again, based on the Matt Milano contract, $4.5 million signing bonus, and years 1 and 2 fully guaranteed based on what Matt Milano got and how I think he's a pretty good comp for Kaiser White. So to wrap it up, let's talk about Justin Jones. I think, again, most Charger fans don't really seem to want him back. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm okay with bringing him back, again, at the right price. I think the price I drew up is a little too pricey, but I think teams will covet the type of versatility he has, playing both in Brandon Staley's 2-gapping scheme and definitely flashing when he was healthy, as well as playing in Gus Bradley's scheme and showing that he could play in like that single gap or 1.5 gaps, whatever the gaps are for Gus Bradley's scheme, and being able to be productive there. The players I had, or let's start with the contract. So the contract I drew up: 2 years, $8.2 million total, 4.1 mil APY, 3.2 fully guaranteed with a 1.7 mil signing bonus in year 1, base salary fully guaranteed. So the players that I based my contract off for Justin Jones, Solomon Thomas, Kerry Hyder, Morgan Fox, Sheldon Rankins. I tried to get interior defensive linemen that were coming off their first contract and signing their second contract, either with a new team or, staying with the team that they were on. There's not a ton of options out there, if I'm being honest. So this was like kind of just like drawing it up on my own. So the contract, again, essentially is a 1-year deal. And if Justin Jones produces, he has a pretty nice jump in the second year. So we're looking at a 1.5 mil base salary in year 1, which jumps up to 4 mil in year 2. And I decided to throw in a 500K per game roster bonus, not really because the Chargers give per game roster bonuses like that, but because I think it's going to be a way for them to throw in money in the deal without it being guaranteed. Because Justin Jones, again, the issue with him is he can't stay healthy. So per game roster bonuses protects the team in that scenario, but also gives the player an incentive to earn all of that money if they play in every game. So because he has the 1.5 mil base salary in year 1, decided to fully guarantee that. Solomon Thomas, Hyder from Fox, and Rankins, I believe, all got that in their deals. So again, basing it off what the market is and seeing how the Chargers throw in their own aspect in their contract. So fully guaranteeing year 1, not guaranteeing year 2. So again, we have that out if Justin Jones doesn't produce or he gets hurt again in 2022, which essentially makes this a 1-year, 2.85 mil deal with, they can cut him in year 2 at a 8.850 thousand dead cap hit. And I think that would be a great deal for the Chargers if they brought him back. They get him for very cheap in year 1. And then, obviously jumps up a little bit, but this is assuming he stays healthy and he has a good productive year in Staley's scheme and in another season practicing and working through everything in that scheme. So I think this is a good deal for the Chargers and for Justin Jones. All right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up. I hope that was productive. I hope you guys kind of learned how to create contracts. Like, it's not just throwing numbers together. You have to think about what the market has been doing for each player for each of those positions. You have to think about what the Chargers do for players that are homegrown, or like what type of bonuses that they give to their players. So you have to put all of that into perspective. If you have any other questions, you can hit my DMs on Twitter at ArjunMenon100. I'm happy to talk contracts, happy to talk football. And if you want to link to the spreadsheet so you can make your own contracts like this, where you just have to plug in numbers and the calculations are there for you, again, just hit me up in my DMs on Twitter and I'll be sure to share that with you. But again, I hope that was productive. And with that, as always, bolts up.